Hi, this is Cheryl McQueen, designer with Bello's Designs. Today I'll be presenting a video tutorial on making a greeting card with a pocket on the inside cover for a gift card. We will create a Mother's Day card today, but this project is great for any occasion, including graduation and Father's Day. Here are a few examples that I made up of some of the pocket cards. This one is a little graduation card. And as you can see, there's a pocket here that you can put a gift card inside of. The same thing here with a Father's Day card with our pocket. And then this one's a little hard to see because of the pale colors. This is a Mother's Day card. Our Mother's Day card, we will be doing something similar to this, but today we're going to be doing it in purples. Let's take a look at some of our supplies that we will use today. We will use the Lavinia Multifarious Smooth and Supreme. This is the A6 that I have cut down to 4 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches, as you can see right here. We will be using a piece of white cardstock for a frame. In this one example, I have done a brown cardstock, but with the purples, we will use the white. For our card piece, we will be using a purple piece of cardstock, which I have scored, and you probably can't see it too well. There we go, get a little bit on there. I have scored at a 2-inch place that will be folded for using to make our pocket. The inks that we will be using today was just going to be 2 basic colors. We're going to be using the Tim Holtz Distress ink, the Wilted Violet, and the Dusty Concord. For our stamping ink, we are going to use the Ranger Archival Acid-Free Permanent Black ink. We will be using the Lavinia Horse and Foal stamp, which is LAV006, and we will be using the Lavinia stencil. This one is Laurel, and it's ST008. We will be using blending tools. I will be using both the blending brushes that are very, very soft, and I also have a couple of little miniature daubers that I will be using as well. We will use a sentiment. I have an old stamp here, a Happy Mother's Day stamp. You can use something like this, or any sentiment that you would like to use. We will also be using a 1-inch circle punch. That is what we will use to go ahead and punch out the place so that you can easily grab the gift card out of the little folder. To put our project together, we will be using just a simple adhesive running tape. We will also use a pair of scissors just to trim a little bit of the edge off when we're making our little pocket. And I have also torn a small piece of paper here so that we can get a little bit of grounding for our mother horse and her foal. So let's get started on our project. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is go ahead and do the stenciling like we had on our example card that I had made earlier. With that, I am going to take my Laurel stencil and I will lay it on top of my card. Now sometimes I like to go ahead and just tape the card down so that it doesn't wiggle too much when I'm actually putting my stencil work on. And then I'm going to lay my stencil, and I will actually do the same thing. I like to go ahead and tape the stencil down so I don't get movement while I am actually doing the stenciling work. So we're going to start out with the Wilted Violet. I'm just going to kind of put the ink kind of on the top half, left half of the stencil and card here. So what I'm going to do is take my soft brush and just get some ink on it, and then gently in little circles just start putting down some ink. And like I said, I'm just going to kind of have it come gently across a little bit of a diagonal. And put just a little bit darker color in some spots here in the center, just to give it some interest and some variation in the color. And have it be lighter and a little softer, gentler look on the outside of the stencil. I'm going to just briefly pull that up a little bit to see what I've got. Oh, I like that. So now we will set our stencil aside and move on to stamping our horse and foal onto the card. I'm going to go ahead and use my Tim Holtz stamping platform. I'm going to go ahead and pull this tape off and set it aside in case we need it later. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way since we won't need the stencil anymore at this point. I'm going to take my card and lay it down on my stamping platform. You'll notice here that I've used a sticky grid. This helps to stick my card to the platform without having to use magnets. If you'd like to see how to do this process to set your stamping platform up, Patty Del Bello has a tutorial on the delbellosdesigns.com website. Okay, so now I am going to take my horse and foal and figure out exactly where I would like for them to be. I think I may have them come down just a little bit. And then I will close my platform door, get that to stick down, and then using my archival ink, I am going to ink up my stamp. With the more solid stamps, I like to use more ink so that I get a good clean image. But I found out that if I don't get a good clean image, it's okay because the stamping platform really helps with keeping it lined up so we can do a second impression if we needed to. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of gentle pressure here to make sure that my stamp completely touches all parts of the paper. Press down, and let's take a look. Okay, looks like we've got a pretty good image. I'm going to go ahead and do just a tiny little bit more inking up and get just a little bit more solid color on there. And we are ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and clean off my stamp with a little piece of baby wipe. I like to make sure to wipe it off as soon as I possibly can. Obviously the stamps are going to get stained up, but this helps to keep them a little bit cleaner. I also keep my baby wipe in a plastic baggie while I'm working on a project. That way it keeps it from drying out. And so that's basically all the stamping that we are going to need to do. This is a very basic, simple, quick card that you can do really quickly. All right, so now that we have gotten our horses in place, we would like to go ahead and give them a little bit of ground to stand on. So what I've done is I had taken a piece of just regular old copy paper and tore it, and this time I tore it just very, very small little hills there. I don't really want hills. I just more or less want a grassy landscape for them to stand on. So I'm going to place that down, and I may go ahead and grab just another little piece of tape so that it doesn't wiggle while I'm working on it. And I can even tape down my little landscape piece there. I'll actually move that up just a teeny tiny little bit. Alright, and then I'm going to go back to my wilted violet. And I'm going to take my little brush. And basically I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of a purple landscape for them to stand on. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my dusty concord to give just a little bit of depth. And I think I will go ahead and just use my little tiny dauber and basically just kind of pull down a little bit across my little landscape mask. Just to get some of that purple, darker purple there at the top. Let's see, I think I'm going to get just a tiny little bit more. So there's just a touch more contrast. There we go. And I like that look. It's a very basic look. I could put more hills or something in there if I wanted to, but I think this kind of just gives it the simplicity that we're really looking for here. Okay, now I like to add just a little bit of landscaping to it, just a little grass around the horse's feet. That again just gives it a little bit more of a grounding effect. And I'm basically just doing some teeny tiny little lines and adding in a few sprigs of grass. I'll also add just a few little pieces kind of in there. And then that just gives it a little bit more of an effect that keeps them from floating around in the sky, if you will. Okay, and so now we are pretty much done with the inking part. So this is, like I said, a very quick little card to make. So when you need something last minute, you don't have to worry about a long-winded project. So now we're ready to put our Happy Mother's Day sentiment in. So let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this in a black ink and kind of put it over here to the side. On my other card, I did it in an ink that the sentiment matched the same ink as the rest of the card, but I had a little bit more white space. I think with this one, since I've got a lot of the pretty vine part showing there, I want to go ahead and just do the black. I am going to do a really quick little test print to make sure that I'll be able to get a good clear image. And we'll go back and make sure there's plenty of ink on it. And I think I'm going to put it a little to the side. Be right about here. Make sure I get a good solid image. And there's our Happy Mother's Day sentiment. I might have liked it down just a little bit further, but I think it's going to be okay right there. And one of the things that I also like to do is I like to put a little bit of a border around the edge. It kind of helps to contain everything. I'm going to go ahead and take the Dusty Concord, which is a little bit darker color of the purple, and then I'm just going to kind of gently add a little bit of a frame around the edge of it. All right. And so we have basically finished our very simple little card front for Mother's Day. Now we are ready to go ahead and put our card together. So I'm going to take the frame and the cardstock, and we will get the pieces put together. I'm going to wipe my hands off real quick here. Got a little bit of ink on them, and I don't want to get that onto my card. So I will wipe that off. Make sure we don't smudge it up. I would like to thank Carol Yates, whose inspiration for this card was found on Pinterest. All right, so now we're going to take our art card and our adhesive tape here, and we're just going to run that along the edges. Then we're going to take that and center it in the middle of our white piece of cardstock. For our frame piece there. All right, so now we've got that mounted. So what I have done, as I showed you earlier, I scored that. So basically what I did is I measured in 2 inches, and then I took a tool, either a ruler, or this is actually a tool that you use when you're cutting strips for a quilt, and I lined it up. I just use this little tool here. You may have a scorer or other pieces of equipment that will help you with that, but I just basically took this little tiny ball end piece and ran it along the edge to create my score. So with that, I'm then going to fold it on the score line. Just like that. Now, what I like to do is take my scissors and cut just a very small, almost little triangle type edge, so that you don't have any edges that might stick over the edge of your card. So I just basically take it and trim it to the point of where the fold is. Not very much, just enough so that you don't have to worry about a corner poking out. So that when I fold this, then I know, and it's kind of hard to see, then I know that I don't have a little piece sticking out. And then I'm going to take my 1-inch circle punch. You could also use a 1/2 circle punch if that's what you've got. Then just somewhere in the middle of the center there, I'm just going to cut like a 1/2 circle. That way, that provides with me a little notch so that it's a lot easier to grab the gift card out of the card. So taking the running tape, I'm just going to run it on the edges. So that when I fold it up, I can stick it to the card. So I'm folding that. And now I have a little pocket here. Now all I need to do is fold my card over. And then I'm going to mount the frame to the card using the same process. And now we have our card. So let's take the gift card out of here and I'll show you that we now have a place where we can just slide our gift card in. Then you can mount your sentiment on the inside of the card. So there are our 3 different cards for these particular occasions. Again, this is great for any occasion: birthday, baby gifts, during the holidays, just about anything. I hope that you enjoy making the greeting cards with the gift card pocket. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Thank you so much for watching my video tutorial today. Also, remember to check out the bellosdesigns.com website for more tutorials on the design team page. Have a great day.